Right, we are live with the Veterans and Coffee Talk. Is this thing on? I think it is. Veterans and Coffee Talk. Jump on if you want. Here we go. Here, let's throw this up on. If you want to jump on here, on as a guest. Jump on as a guest today. If you want to jump on and talk about whatever it is that's on your mind, just a reminder that I am not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor or whatever. So I can't really help you out with that stuff. But I can talk to you if you need anything. Just here. So the premise of the show, the reason I got this show going on is to talk to fellow veterans. Okay. I love talking to veterans. I love going around to organizations, talking to folks. If you got something you want to talk about, we keep it non-political. We keep it, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that. So I can't really help you out with that stuff. But yeah, we try to keep it clean a little bit and talk about whatever is on your mind, just trying to connect with fellow veterans out there. As we know, veterans always are looking for somebody to talk to. I know I am every so often. So if you have something to say, if you want to talk, hey, let's get on it. Bring your coffee. I got mine. I got the streaming link on there. So if you want to jump on there, actually, let me throw it up on the banner. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Let's create a banner here. And let's go with, there we go. Show that. Jump on the stage. All right. So what I wanted to get into today was something that was on my mind and something that somebody had asked me on Facebook a while back. It was, how do I know when it's time for me to leave the military? And that's a great question. It's a great question because a lot of folks, are nearing the pinnacle of their career, maybe the 20-year, 30-year mark in their career, and they just don't know. Like, hey, is it time for me to go? Is it time for me to hang up the hat per se? So I was looking at like maybe a few different ways, a few different reasons why folks may want to leave the military. And whoever's out there watching, if you want to jump on the screen or on the live stream, I got this. I don't know if you can click on that. I don't know how to make that thing clickable. But yeah, I'm accepting some folks to come on here if they want to talk about whatever they want to talk about, veteran issues, veteran ideas, things like that. That's all good. Let's do that. So let's see if I can change that out here, not scroll across. Add that banner there. I got to get up with this technology stuff, man. All right, let's do this. This probably make it a little bit easier. Okay, so right there. I don't know if y'all can copy and paste that or what, but if you wanted to jump on the show and just talk about whatever's on your mind, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever it is. I can't give you advice or anything, but put this link into your browser. Jump on the show. We'll bring you up backstage, and I'll bring you up on the show. We'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. Just trying to connect with fellow veterans out there who may have something to say, who may want to talk a little bit. And of course, bring your call if you know that. But the topic I brought up here is, when do you know it's your time to leave the military? All right. Like I was mentioning, I've come up with a list of different reasons why I thought it was time for me to leave the military. Number one, I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. Okay. So big thing was I when I first came in, when I my first duty station being Camp Pendleton, immediately I was thrown on a deployment team, which is fine. All right, that's like what every I was in the Marine Corps. That's what like every Marine wants to do, right? Join, jump on a deployment. I was able to do that, check that box off my list. I then started looking for education opportunities, started jumping on those education opportunities. So I was able to jump on the associate's degree, the bachelor's degree, and all that. So I achieved those things, checking the box. Right. What else did I want to do? Was able to buy some property, some homes. You know, as you go moving around PCS to PCS, you utilize that VA loan, you buy some homes and things like that. So I was able to check those things off my list. There's a whole lot that I was able to check off the list. And I'm curious, like, hey, folks out there, is does that resonate with you? Is that a big reason why you decided to leave the military? You had achieved everything that you came for. And what was that thing? Right. For me, it was the deployment. For me, it was completing my education. Um, it was getting promoted to the highest rank I wanted to at least. I was a chief warrant officer 3 in the Marine Corps. I was able to leave as that rank. I had some great mentors that were chief warrant officers, so I decided this is where I wanted to be, and was able to leave the military at the point in time when I wanted to leave the military. Let me see here. Uh, all right. So yeah, this link right here, right under me. If you all want to jump on the show, talk about your time in the military, why you left the military, all those reasons, click on that click on that link, and we'll get you on here. You can do a side by side or whatever. Let's see. But yeah, the big reason why I was able to leave the military was because I did achieve what I came for. I did achieve what I wanted to do in the military. Make sure these settings are good here. Mike. Yeah, mic check, mic check. Here we go. Speaker. Let's put the speaker on there. Yeah, all good. All good. So I'm wondering out there who did 20 years in the military, 20 plus years, 20, 30 years. And when you did that, what was your reason for leaving the military? Did you complete what you wanted to do? Did you do everything? Did you deploy? Did you finish your college, whatever? What was your main reason for leaving the military when you did? Comment or jump on the show if you'd like. The second reason for me was that my career no longer aligned with my goals. Right, so my career in the military, I did military justice. Well, I was in the Marine Corps, and I was heading up investigations and things like that. I gave classes on investigations and all that, and that was all good and fun. But sometimes you get to see too much crap during the investigations. You don't really want to be a part of that anymore. I thought maybe I needed a shift. I needed a change in all this. So what did I do? I decided I looked ahead, made sure that all my stuff was in line to where I wanted it to be. I uh, I looked at my finances. I looked at my family. I looked at where we were PCSed. We were in Southern California. You know, it's we kind of liked it there. Why not stick around there for a little bit? So that was a good time for me to call it quits. If I could have, I was stationed in Hawaii. If I could have stayed in Hawaii, that would have been legit. If you've ever been to like Cape or anything like that, that is legit, man. That's a good time out there. I wish I would have been able to stay out there, but it is what it is, man. You got to give everybody a turn, right? So, yeah. So if you are watching this and you want to jump on the show, here is the StreamYard live stream link. Just plug that into your into your browser and we'll get you set up. We'll get you on the show. How can I make it clickable? I thought I could have made it clickable. I don't know. Maybe not. That is what it is. Let's see. Jump on. Maybe that'll help there. Jump on stage and let's talk. Who wants in? Let's see. So what was my other reason? I had it all written down here. So my third reason for leaving the military when I did, and I'm curious to hear from other folks out there why, if you left the military, if you were in the military, why did you leave when you did? What was the cause? What pushed you to leave the military when you did and become a civilian or do whatever else you did, right? Become a police officer, fireman, whatever. My next reason was I was simply tired of sacrificing my family and my health and my peace of mind for the mission, the military mission, right? Um, there was a time when I was stationed in Camp Lejeune where I think we moved about 6 times because that's when I went from enlisted to officer at that point. So we got there, we were in temporary housing for I don't know how long because the housing list was insane to get on a house into a house through whatever it's called, Liberty Housing, whatever. That was insane. And then once we got into the house, we were in enlisted housing, and then I got promoted twice to, oh gosh, what was it, staff sergeant, and then I got selected for the other one, warrant officer, a few years later. So I was able to move about 6 times. It wasn't pretty. It was a constant like packing up. We were living out of boxes. It sucked, right? And I still have those little stickers that you have when you move. I still got those things on the freaking boxes. But I'm getting text here. Okay, that's fine. I'm getting text from the wife. It's all good. But yeah, we moved around so much. I was hating it, right? But I was simply tired of moving, PCSing every 2 to 3 years, man. It really adds up. It really like kills the vibe, right? And as anybody out there who's in the military would know, you constantly have to move your kids from school to school. That sucks too. So, I had my daughter in high school, and we had to move her to different high schools and stuff, and it was a little bit rough. So I was tired of doing that for my family. Um, I was tired of seeing the kids having to make new friends every time we moved, every time we PCSed. I was tired of doing all that stuff, just getting everything set up. The cool thing was we did have homes in different areas where we were living, but the bad thing was, the kids situation. Um, but yeah, I mean, in sacrificing the health, my knees click every time I stand up. They click and they sound like Rice Krispie treats. Does anybody else have that issue? It's from like doing stupid training from like jumping out of 7 tons and crap like that, or doing McMap training or whatever it is, right? After a while, your knees take a toll. And now, whenever I go to bend down and get back up, my knees sound like Rice Krispie treats, and my back sounds like it's popcorn popping, whatever. But it is what it is. That's the price you pay for being in the military. You give your time, your effort, your life really for your country, and you do the training for it. It's a necessity. Anybody out there listening, I got the link here if you want to jump on stage and talk. I'm just talking veteran stuff. Right now, the topic is what led you to want to leave the military when you did. And I'm just kind of naming off my reasons right now why I left the military when I did. Right now, I'm on the third reason. It's because I was tired of sacrificing my family, my health, my peace of mind. Right, I was Just tired of moving around so much. It sucks. And hey, if you're going to jump on, bring some coffee too, because we got to stay awake. I'm a prior chief warrant officer, and this is like what I'm used to, just walking around from space to space, drinking some coffee, seeing how everybody's doing, then getting back into work. Right? Mm, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So yeah, I hate that stuff. I hated moving around. So I I was stationed out in gosh, what was it, in K Bay, Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii. Beautiful area. And I was trying to extend my time out there. And I talked to the monitor, the one who does the moves and all that, and they just wouldn't do it. And I understand why. You got to give everybody else a turn. And there was a long waiting list for folks who wanted to come to Kaneohe Bay, Hawaii, at that point over at the Marine Corps base. Long list of folks, and yeah, shoot, it was like I was 17 years in at the time, and there's no way I could have extended it for another 3 years. That was a big no-no. So yeah, I mean, I fought to come out here to my last duty station, making it San Diego, California, and this is where I decided to retire from. If not, I would have gone back to Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, or Okinawa. I've already done some training out in Okinawa. At this point in time, I've been stationed out in Iwakuni, Japan. I'm good with Japan. I love it out there. I love Japan, but doing the whole transition readiness seminar from Japan, having to move everything back, potentially finding a job, having to fly back, and all that, that would have been a pain. So I decided to hang up my hat here. Wife had a good job. I had some good job prospects at the time. Why not? Why not SoCal? And it's a good base to jump to Japan, Hawaii, if we wanted to jump anywhere really. So if you're just tuning in, if you're just coming on the live stream, I got this link right here, right under me. Jump on the stage if you want to talk. It's just talking veteran stuff, just folks who just want to connect a little bit and say what's on their mind. Right now, the topic is reasons why you left the military. It could be something. I was talking to somebody a while back, and they were like, they left the military because they were just tired of the body fat composition programs. Oh shoot, hold on a second. Wife is calling. Let me mute this. All right. So yeah, as I was mentioning, yeah, if you want to jump on the live stream, we're talking everything, why you left the military, why you decided to leave the military. Bring some coffee along as well. It is it's a big decision. It really is. I've talked to probably hundreds of veterans who are leaving the military, and everybody's reason is a little bit different, but there are some similarities in there. One being that they're just tired of PCSing and they want to remain in one spot for longer than 3 to 4 years, or whatever a tour is in the Army, Navy. For me, it was about 3 years. Another one is that they achieved what they wanted to do, right? Whether it's pin on a certain rank, whether it is, I don't know, doing 20 years, hitting that pinnacle mark of 20 years, or personal goals like completing, I don't know, college or something like that, or deploying, or some kind of leadership experience, their degrees or whatever it is. That is a goal that was attained. They checked that box and they were able to move on. So everybody's reasoning is a little bit different. So let me see here if I can invite. All right. Yeah, I try to make it clickable. I can't make it clickable on this live stream, so you're gonna have to go through the chat to do it. But look down below. There's a link if you want to jump on the stage and just talk a little bit about your time as a veteran, your time now in the civilian sector, maybe differences, maybe the reason why you left the military. Hey, it's all good. Come online. All right. So Yeah, that was my third reason is I was tired of sacrificing family. I was tired of sacrificing health. I was tired of sacrificing peace of mind, just constantly moving around. It sucked. It sucked. Like I mentioned in Camp Lejeune, I moved 6 times. I probably moved 12, 13, maybe up to 15 times when I was in the military. I know that there's folks out there who have moved a lot more than that, so I'm actually going to put that in the chat here. How many times have you moved? All right, going up in the chat right now. I'm curious to hear from folks. How many times have you moved? Have you PCS'd in your military career? Okay, I think mine is up to about 12 times, with the most being 5 or 6 times when I was in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. Curious to hear from folks out there. How many times have you PCS'd in your military career? Let's see. Reason number 4 that I have is that I had a clear plan and I had a passion outside of the military. I wanted to try something new, to be honest. Right. So I found myself constantly daydreaming about other things. Like there's the mission that I had in the military, which is cool, right? The mission was cool, helping out, being around, these young cats, these young Marines and all that. Being around that was cool. But I also had other goals. I had other things that I wanted to do outside of that. And when I found myself daydreaming about it so much, like writing things down and like, oh, here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. That kind of, it lit the light bulb in my mind. Okay, now I may have to start looking at maybe the retirement process. So that was probably about 15 years in when I started thinking about it, started coming up with some business ideas. So, yeah, that was probably a push for me to start thinking about retirement or leaving the military, right? And I wasn't supposed to do like more than 4 years. And I'm curious about anybody else out there, like, hey, were you only going to do like 40 years in the military and then for some reason you did like 20, 30 years? I'd like to hear from you because there's a lot of folks out there. I was only supposed to do 4 years and then I got out and, or get out and then go to college. But I don't know. I guess the driving force was probably finishing up the degree, because that was the next goal, right? The first 4 years in the military, I was able to deploy, went to Iraq and all that. And then the next goal was to check the box and do my college. But yeah, I had a clear passion outside the military. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to start a business, do something else, be an entrepreneur. I really enjoyed the instructor portion, like doing the investigations, the instructor portion. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to do something else. I wanted to apply to grad school. I wanted to look into like the nonprofits for the military, for veterans. And I found myself kind of the other things I wanted to do was kind of mixing in or like taking precedence sometimes over the mission. And it's not supposed to be like that. The mission comes first in the military. So that was kind of a sign. It was kind of a calling outside of my MOS. Let me see. And then I guess the next reason is because I was simply ready. So just messaging some folks here. I'm getting some messages here. Right. Yeah. I was simply ready. I was simply ready to move on. Simple as that. Like when there's a thing when people know, they know. Maybe you're fed up with your leadership. Maybe you're you completed everything you wanted to do. Maybe you just there's no promotion in sight for you, and you're just ready for what's next. That's a big thing. That's kind of a telltale sign that you are ready to move on from the military to your civilian career. Now, I'll tell you, the civilian civilian life is not easy by any means. It's not easy by any means, man. It's been a kick in the ass because it's not steady like the military is. Every 3 years you get told, hey, you're going to have this new job. You're going to PCS here. You're going to go here. You're going to be doing this. Cool, but it's not as easy by any means. Let's see here. See if I got some comments here. Try to put some of these things up on the group here. Oh yeah, we got the military retirement group too. Holy crap, man. I haven't looked at it since yesterday. I got 6 new requests to join the military retirement group. We're up to 2,600 folks on there. Very nice. Very nice. It just continues to grow. A lot of folks who want some information on military and retirement and all that good stuff, part of the military retirement group, part of the military retirement process, or podcast, military retirement podcast, and the Green Logbook. So all encompassing makes the military retirement group on Facebook, and we're about to hit 2,700 folks on there. So and it's completely free. All the information on there is free. It's freaking awesome, and then we're talking AI stuff and how veterans can make themselves more marketable using AI. I know I've done it myself when I got out, and AI is very, very powerful when it comes to like resume writing and all that and job hunting. It is awesome. So let me see here. Bam. Let's go to some of these comments here. Let me go back to the channel. I'm on this YouTube studio here. Where is it? Yeah, some of these comments. Let's share the screen here real quick. Here we go. Share the screen here. All right. So this guy, let me see. They screwed us out of our Montgomery GI Bill. This is off of a video I made called Veterans Can Get Up to 8 Years of Free College. Okay. And that's a real thing. If you didn't know, veterans can get up to 8 years of free college. You would just have to use your veterans readiness and employment first, and then your GI Bill. So that, coupled with the Rudisill decision, which was the decision to add on the extra 12 months from the Montgomery GI Bill to your post 9/11 GI Bill that you paid towards. If you served during the time where you had to change from the Montgomery GI Bill to the post 9/11 GI Bill, you most likely rate the extra 12 months, making it 48 months of post 9/11 GI Bill. Check out the Rudisill Act, or the Rudisill decision, named after an Army captain, I believe, Captain Rudisill, who fought this at the Supreme Court level. So this gentleman here, it says, but they screwed us out of our Montgomery GI Bill and post 9/11. You guys making these videos are talking about veterans who got out and didn't have to go into the workforce to pay bills. It's a dream world scenario. Yeah, and I'm curious because my response to him was, hey, when did you serve? Like, when did you retire? I know a lot of the folks from like back Vietnam era probably don't get the same, or in fact, I know they don't get the same benefits that we get it now if you're retiring. Um, but yeah, right now is probably the best time for military or VA benefits. You know, if you're retiring, you get your monthly military retirement, and that's for life. If you're all broken, and I say broken, but if you have, you know, physical issues, mental issues, things like that, in your medical record, and you go see the VA doctors, or you go do your BDD claim or submit your VA disability, then yes, you know, you're probably going to rate some VA disability as well. So I'm curious, and I asked this gentleman here, when did you retire? Because, you know, it says they screwed him out of his Montgomery GI Bill in post 9/11. Yes, I'm one of the ones that's making videos about veterans who got out and didn't have to go into the workforce. Okay, so a lot of times, depending on where you live and, you know, your life choices, sometimes that's a thing where you don't really have to go into the workforce. Sometimes you do have to go into the workforce. I don't know. Let's see. We got, okay, Shaquille Oatmeal. That's funny. That's a good name. Shaquille Oatmeal. VRE is only for vets with VA disability. Okay, and just going off the VRE video that I made, I think you have to have at least a 10% disability. Yeah, that's correct. Okay, yeah, veterans must have at 10% or more rating per the VA website. So that's a thing. That's a thing. You know, you gotta have some kind of rating in order to rate the VRE. But the good thing about the VRE is that, you know, you get the extra training. They pay for your school. They pay for your tuition. They give you the monthly stipend, which looks like it mirrors like the BAH. And you know, from what I've seen, and I haven't gotten this far yet on my VRE portion, but from what I've seen, they also give you a technology package if you request it, if you require it, which includes like a laptop, a computer, excuse me, a chair, like a ergonomic chair, whatever you need to complete your mission in college, in school. If you're going to be a nurse, they're going to pay for the books. They're going to pay for whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know what else you have to buy as a nurse or whatever. But yeah, a lot of good comments on here. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, this is one I answered the other day. So I made this video. It's a very high-ranking video on the Green Logbook. It's what's a military pension really worth? Numbers revealed. I can't recall how many I have on here, how many views, but it's upwards of 100,000 so far. But this person here says the benefit of military retirement is that you don't have to pitch in anything to get it, and you get medical dental, which is worth its weight in gold. On the flip side, it's not a lot of money unless you gave a full 30 as enlisted or did 20 as an officer. I make way more money being a civilian and get paid a lot for working overtime. I'm glad I did my 5 years, but if I had a choice of making 25 to 30,000 a year as a retired enlisted or 130,000 a year retired as a civilian, I'd take the latter. Okay, so a few thoughts on that. And I like where he's going with this, right? It's like he's comparing this military life with civilian life, and the fact that, you know, military doesn't get paid as well as civilian side, right? For what you have to do and what you have to go through, and you know, mentally and physically. However, yeah, I think about it like this: like you cannot get your civilian retirement until I think it's what 65, 67 years old, right? At probably the earliest 37. If you joined at 17, 37 years old, you could start getting a military retirement at 37, which is crazy. Like you get paid for life at 37. And on top of that, you know, you've been working, so you've probably been saving too, hopefully. So you probably got like a good amount saved up in your retirement or in your savings account. On top of that, you're getting paid for the rest of your life. Let's just throw a number out there. You're getting paid maybe 2,500, 3,000, let's say 3,000 a month for the rest of your life. All right. That's 36,000 a year, right? So 24, 36. Yeah. Doing math in public sucks. 36,000 a year, and then say, hey, you probably got a skill that's going to give you, I don't know, say another six-figure position when you get out. So without having to work as hard, you're still making that 130,000 a year because you're bringing in the 36,000 from being retired, 136,000 a year as a retired military person. And by the time you hit 65, 67, whatever it is, you start getting your Social Security, or at that point in time, maybe you have another retirement that's coming in. So I don't know. To me, it's worth it. I mean, you're probably going to get what two different retirements by the time you're that age, versus if you got out at 5 years, you're saving up. Yeah, you probably have a lot of time to save up and invest and all that. But I don't know. To me, the life is pretty good from where I sit. Let's see here. Next one up. Retired 05 with 26 years in the regular Army. And in a couple of years, I'll be retiring again as a DoD civilian. 2 separate retirement checks. Add in my VA, disability, and Social Security at 62. Life is looking great. All right, this guy's got a ton of replies on here. My reply was, yes, it is. I mean, it does look great for the guy, right? I'm always the same as you regarding time. Retired Chief Warrant Officer 20 years. Retired GS also with all 3 at 55. DOD, GS, and VA. Life is just fine. On top of that, my VA 100% in my state that's no property tax. Put that savings into my mortgage. By 60, the house will be fully paid off and no utility bills to pay. Wife complained for 20 years about the time away from her, but she stuck it out. Now she loves the financial benefits, well worth all the headaches. That's not bad. All right, so that's the upside of it. That's the upside of that, right? So you can serve for 20 years, stick it out for 20 years. You know, you potentially get a second retirement at some point. But this dude did it all. He retired as Chief Warrant Officer 2 at 20 years, retired as GS, and he with all 3 at 55, DOD, GS, and VA. Life is just fine. And he's also 100% VA disabled. That's over, I don't know, it's got to be over 13, 14,000 a month. I don't know. That's just me doing some math in public. But hey, good on him. Good on him. You know, you make the right choices over time. Let me see, this guy retired 06 with 30-year pension. Okay, that's pretty good. VA disability and currently heavy captain at an airline. Life is great. That's not too bad, man. Not too bad. So there's a lot. There's a lot of these comments. You know, feel free to comment on any one of these videos. I got a whole lot of them. Some of my more popular ones are, this one's at 94,000. So what's a military pension really worth? I hate doing math. And I hate doing math in public, which is, times 2. So I happen to do it here. This one, again, is another one, 20,000 views. Will your military retirement pay be enough? Okay. I don't know. Will it? I don't know. It depends on what rank. But here I go through an E6, E8, Chief Warrant Officer 3, I think it is. And yeah, Chief Warrant Officer 3. That's a Navy one. And a major. So I go through several different ranks on here, and I kind of give you estimates if your military retirement pay will be enough. And it's all dependent on where you're going to live, what your financial life is like, how much you spend per month, things like that. This one's more for, is it really worth it or not? Or what's it really worth? This one right here is 100% VA in California, only because that's where I live. I can definitely make one in, I don't know, New Jersey, Florida, whatever it is, if you're 100% VA disabled there. So I plan on making a few more of these. So these are probably my top viewed videos here. I invite you all to check it out. This one here has got almost 100,000 views. What's a military pension really worth? Numbers revealed. Again, I hate doing math in public, but that's what it is. I'm doing math in public. If y'all want to jump on the stage, check out the link here, right down here. Jump on the stage. Let's talk about veteran stuff. Let's talk about whatever's on your mind, really. The topic of it starting off was what led you to leave the military and become a civilian again. It could be anything from multiple PCS moves to wanting your family to, I don't know, stay in one place more than 3 years. Okay, then we kind of transitioned over to some comments left on here, especially with retirement stuff. How is retired life for these folks now? We went over in '06 with 30-year pension, Chief Warrant Officer 2 with 20-year pension, who also is a GS retiree and is 100% VA disabled, who says life is awesome for him right now. So I cannot, I can't disagree with that. I mean, life is pretty good as a retiree. Um, and somebody had also mentioned on here on one of the comments about getting out at 5 years. I'll pull it up here. He mentioned he got out at 5 years. Oh gosh, where is it? You don't have to pitch anything, et cetera, et cetera. I'll find it. But he got out at 5 years, and he says the civilian pay is a lot better than his military pay. And that's true at the time, right? Because at 5 years, you're probably what, an E5, E5 maybe, E4, I don't know. So pay is not that much, right? But you do the 20 years, you become a, I don't know, major, lieutenant colonel, chief warrant officer 3, 4, or E8, E9. Pay is a little bit better, probably not as great as the civilian side, but the great thing is if you joined at 17 years old, you're retiring at 20 years at 37 years old, and you can start a second career. You're way young. I mean, I'm older than 37. You're way young. You're young enough to start a second career there, and you lock in a six-figure career, plus you're bringing in, let's say, $3,000 a month for retirement. I'm just throwing out a number there. That's $36,000 a year plus VA disability. If you're 100% VA disabled, that's what, for another 4,000. That's $7,000 a month. I don't know. I'm not. Should I do math in public? I don't know. Let's see. I'm such a dummy. Let's see here. What is this? So 7. Okay, so that's 84,000 a year. Plus, if you decide to go get another job, you don't even need a six-figure job. You could make over six figures just getting a part-time job somewhere. So life is good. And then on top of that, when you actually retire as a civilian, you get your Social Security. If you go GS, you get your GS retirement over some time. So you could be locking some good stuff there as long as you make smart financial decisions. Hey, anybody watching, I got a link down here below. If you want to jump on the stage and talk to me, bring your coffee, because we need to stay awake here. And let's talk about your veteran journey. Let's talk about you leaving the military, you become a civilian. Even if you're never been in the military, let's talk about some family and friends that you may have. Okay, we're all about veteran support here. Part of the Green Log book, part of the Military Retirement Podcast. And the cool thing is the Military Retirement Podcast is part of the Wreaths Across America radio network on iHeartRadio. So we're on there. I think it's Friday nights. I want to say Friday nights. We were just changed from Wednesday nights to Friday nights. So very cool to be a part of that radio network. But also very cool to connect with folks. I just connected with, if you didn't know, there was a chief warrant officer who bought Chesty Puller's house, his old home in Virginia. And I was just texting or emailing this guy back and forth saying, hey, look, I want to take my camera out there and do a tour of Chesty Puller's old house. Chesty Puller was, was a great Marine. He's like the most decorated Marine in Marine Corps history. Everybody, all Marines know who Chesty Puller is. You get up on the pull-up bar, you do one more pull-up for Chesty, even after you can't get up anymore. So it'd be awesome to go visit Chesty Puller's house. I'm just waiting to get information on events coming up over there. I think it's called pullerhouse.com. And the coolest thing is a Chief Warrant Officer 4 purchased the home a couple of years ago and made it into a museum. So very cool. Looking forward to visiting out there. Again, got a link down here below. If you want to jump on, drop that link into your browser and then jump on stage with me, and we'll have some good times. We'll talk some crap over some coffee, man. It's going to be good. Well, yeah, started off the talk with, Here, let me stop the screen here. Why you left the military? What led you to leave military service and become a civilian? Okay, for me, it was partly because I achieved what I joined the military to do. It was never supposed to be 30 years. It was actually supposed to be only 4 years. And then, go back to Florida where I grew up. Uh, but it didn't happen that way because once I hit that 4 years, I was like, you know what? I've deployed, I've been to Iraq, but I haven't done my college. Like I want to do my college first. So I was able to knock that out in the subsequent years. I was able to, pick up rank fairly quickly, jump on some, NCO core boards, Marine of the Quarter boards, things like that, and was able to, go up the ranks fairly quickly. I achieved a lot of what I came there for. I left with a good feeling. I recently talked to somebody who, and we had him on the podcast, who left the military and on a bad note, at least on a bad note for himself. Nothing like administrative paperwork or judicial process or anything like that. No court martial. He just left on a note where he didn't want to leave on. He was kind of almost forced out, right? I'm grateful to say that was not my position, and I'm actually curious if anybody out there is listening and maybe they were forced out of the military in some way, shape, or form. Come on the show. The link is below. Come on the show and tell me about it. Tell me about why you left the military the way you did. Were you forced out? Did you decide to get out? Did you see that the grass was greener on the other side? I know I did after 20 years. It was never supposed to be 30 or 40 years or whatever. It was always after I did my 4 years. All right, let's take it one enlistment at a time. Then became officer, and then just looked out ahead and said, 20 years is it for me. I was tired of PCS moves. I was tired of moving every 3 years. I was tired of, and I joked about it, Matt, every time I bend down and get back up, my knees, they do the snap, crackle, and pop, right? You ever listen to Rice Krispie treats or the Rice Krispies? That's what my knees sound like. Just, sounds terrible. Anytime I get up, my kids are like, what the hell is that? That's just dad's knees from fucking jumping out of 7 tons and whatever, doing 20 year ruck marches and all that stuff. All right, we got on the line here. Your average logic. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, we followed each other a couple times. What's going on?
Nothing much. What's going on, Vic? How are you?
Life is good. Can't complain. Can't complain.
That's good.
Oh no, yeah. No, just talking about what led folks to leave the military when they did, and I was kind of going through all my steps here. But I'm curious about you. You know what? You did how many years in the military?
I did 20 years and 10 days.
20 years and 10 days. And what was your reason for leaving?
Okay, so I've been deployed 3 times, and my last deployment, my kid was 4 going on 5.
Mm-hmm.
And in the midst of that, you know how you have the family care plan, you got to plan it out, make sure,
That's right.
I'm a mom, right? So things are exponentially more difficult for me because, the choices I made, right? So anyway,
right.
Finding a reliable person to get my son was a headache. It was disappointing and disheartening, and it really opened my eyes to like reality, that I'm really in this shit alone. And so, because no matter how much money you have, doesn't mean anything. It's really about family and connection and having people that you can depend on, right?
That's right.
So when I went through that opened my eyes, and then I got back, right? And then also when I got back, that's when COVID started, right? So my mom passed, COVID started, and I'm a medic, so I was outside. I started the whole testing of COVID testing at our unit. And then once we were testing and everything, when they were sending all these labs and stuff off, I was like, wait a minute, these mofos, they're about to create a vaccine, because I'm also an allergy immunization tech, right?
Right.
That's my specialty. So I was like, they're about to create a vaccine, and I'm not taking it.
Oh.
I'm not doing it.
Man.
And then on top of that, I started noticing the younger rank, because I was E7 at the time. I
Yeah.
noticed they had a lot more power and say so and autonomy than when I was that rank. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yep.
yo, something ain't right. Like this is we going backwards, right? So it was a culmination of all of that. And then really them coming out with the vaccine, that's what really propelled me to just push that button and just get the F out. I was like, yeah, you know,
And you were at your 20 years there, right? So it was like the right timing for you then.
I was like maybe 6 months out. No. Yeah, I was less than 6 months out from 20. Yep.
Mm, okay, man. Yeah, I know a lot of folks are dropping like crazy when that first came out, and I was in my mind, when I deployed to Iraq, I remember getting the anthrax shots. Right, it was like a series of 7 shots and all that,
Yep.
and I'm like, man, I guess if I already got anthrax, I mean, what's this thing gonna hurt, right? I already got everything else under the sun.
Right.
So I went ahead and just did I followed suit and just got
Yeah.
the vaccine and all that. But yeah, looking back, and I think they're turning that over now. It's like if you got separated, now you're going to be accepted back, or at least you can appeal to that and
Yeah.
get and brought back in uniform.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's going to go, but I'm curious to see. I'm always on the lookout with all these news articles and all that when it comes to
Yeah.
veterans.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah,
us posted about that because I am curious to know how are they gonna, rectify that because that's really foul. A lot of people, weren't able to stay in because of that. They felt really strongly about their convictions, and I feel like,
right.
something like that, there should have been a waiver for. There's a waiver for
Mhm.
everything in the military, right?
There really is. Shit, if I wanted to give up my retirement and join, I'm still within the age time frame to join again if I wanted to. Right? There is a waiver for everything, like you said.
Absolutely. Did you get that letter saying, "Hey, would you like to come back?" I got that letter. I was like, "Nope, I'm good."
No, no, no. I did get a letter, and I was it was a discussion with some of my friends who got out, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. Life is pretty good right now, having to deal with headaches and possibly another PCS move and all that. I'm here where I want to be right now. I'm good. I'm good.
Mhm. Same. That was my
Oh,
thought. Like I
yeah,
had to weigh the options. I mean, it didn't take. It
yeah.
only took me maybe like 30 seconds to think about it, and the answer was like, "Nope."
No, no, no. Because you'd have to give up your retirement. You can't double dip that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because if I didn't stay, if I was to stay in, I would have been sent to North Carolina. And I've already been to North Carolina at Camp Lejeune, right? I've already
Okay.
been there, bought a house out there and all that stuff years ago. And I was like, you know what? I'm good. I think I'm all right with not going out there. I mean, I live in SoCal right now.
Okay.
Um, you know, the family's good here. And I'm like, all right, well, let's stick around here. If I was to, I guess, sign up, not another enlistment because I went from enlisted to officer. I guess if I was to accept another
Oh.
PCS move and continue on, then it would have been North Carolina for me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty good without that. And what happens from there, right? Then it would have to. I tried to stay in Hawaii for a while before I
Okay.
came to San Diego, and I was like, they wouldn't let me. I was like, damn, I was
Uh,
yeah, I was trying to stay out there for as long as possible. Yeah, it's
I
not gonna
know you
happen. Not gonna
were.
happen. Yeah, yeah. There was a long line of folks out there trying to stay out there. I'm like, nah.
Of course.
Yeah, and plus,
I
the PCS moves. I'm sure that you PCSed a ton when you
six,
were in over 20 years, right?
6 or 7. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're what? You were Army,
Air Force.
Air Force. Okay, yeah. So I know you guys PCS all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, so every 2 or 3 years, and then you got kids too. So it's like
Yeah.
your kids got to go to new schools, make new friends, and all that. It's just a
All of that.
pain. It is. It's a pain, right? And then
It's
once you finish checking off the boxes of everything that you want to do. Maybe you want to do your college degree. Maybe you already deployed. Maybe you did this and that. Things are looking good at about 20 years.
mm-hmm. Absolutely.
An easy decision. An easy decision.
Oh my gosh. And then
Yeah.
every time I PCS, something was missing every single time. Something that I really, like
Yes.
a really nice portrait of mine that I bought at this festival when I was in Ohio, that went missing. A gold
Yeah.
chain that my grandmother gave me. And I know,
No.
realize all this stuff later, like you're supposed to take your jewelry and your coins and stuff like that on you. But
Right.
I
Right.
did
Right.
a dumb thing. It'll be okay. But I mean, every single PCS, maybe except for the very last one, something
Right.
valuable was missing. So yeah, that can, put a strain on you too,
It can. Yeah, it can. I'm still going through my garage. I just cleaned it out after we moved to this new house, and I'm
Hmm.
still finding like those little stickers that they put all over your stuff on the bikes and all. I'm still finding those stickers everywhere. I'm like, damn, I haven't lived here and like from Japan. I'm like, I haven't lived there in like 10 years. I'm still finding
Yeah.
stickers from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a pain, man. But
I still got the
same,
stickers on my furniture.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So, and I think that's part of the fun of being in the military, right? You're still finding stuff under your desk. They got it. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's kind of like a little memory, right? But
Yeah.
I'm with you on stuff that goes missing because
Yeah.
for the longest time I was doing, they gave you the papers and you're like, okay, you're checking off everything that you received, but everything gets thrown into a box. And I'm like, where's my kid's Xbox? And I had to make a claim for that. Like it was gone. It was missing. I had to make a claim for it.
Yeah. And you don't get
Yeah.
full price back. They give you a
Mhm.
price, compensation of a used amount. But what about the pain and
Yeah.
suffering of having to, go through that?
Yeah. 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 So it's the easiest place that I got reimbursed at was when I was in Japan. Like they
Mhm.
messed up, my it was like a dresser and they messed up like the corners of the bed. And I just brought pictures over to like the DMO office and they cut me a check right on the spot.
What?
I was like, that's it? Yeah, in Japan. I was like, that's it? They're like, oh, here you go, sir. We apologize for any inconvenience. And
That's
I'm like, well,
business.
yeah.
That's how you do business. Yes.
And I was like, I'm like, I should have put more on here. Oh man, everything my car went missing. I should have put everything on there.
Right.
Oh man. But that's the fun. That's the fun of getting out of the military, right? And and where are you at now?
I am still where I retired. So I retired out of Langley Air Force Base in Virginia,
Mhm.
Hampton Roads area. So I'm still
Okay.
here debating if I want to go back to Maryland for a while, stay out here. I'm here, but I got a mortgage and it's reasonable. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of people. So I'm actually in a really good spot. But I don't like the area. Only thing I love is the water. I love the water and I love, the palm trees. Like I was looking at your pictures.
Mhm.
It did. And I was like, where's Vic at? I didn't know he was in Cali. I was like, he's either in Cali or Florida or South Carolina somewhere. But I didn't know you were in Southern Cali. That's where I'm from. I'm from San Diego.
Oh, right on. Yeah. So same, San Diego here.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. Right next to Marine Corps Air Station Miramar. Right
Okay.
next to it.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
What year did you graduate high school?
Oh, so I didn't go to high school here.
Okay.
I'm not from San Diego. We just stayed out here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I went to high school in Florida.
In Florida. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, we stuck around here. I was stationed out here twice. And the second time around, I was like, you know what, North Carolina or San Diego, let's stick around San Diego for a little bit, So North Carolina is all right. I did some hunting out there and all that. Got to meet a lot of good people. But yeah, I don't know. It was the typical the outskirts of a military base where it's all like bars and strip clubs and all that, and I didn't really want to be around all that. And the schools weren't that good either. So I'm like, well, let's move somewhere else. Let's see what they have to offer in San Diego.
Yes.
And it wasn't San Diego first. It was 29 Palms first, which it sounds nice, but it looks like Google a picture of 29 Palms. Anybody listen out there? It looks like freaking Mars. Like I'm like, I don't know if I'm looking at like outer space, a planet, or if I'm looking at like Earth. It's just desert. It's just desert, right?
Yeah.
It's a training base is what it is.
Okay.
The entire base is set up to look like Iraqi cities. Like, so they kind of, they make it like that, right? Like that's where you do your mount training and all that. So I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to go out to 29 Palms. What do you got over in San Diego? So they had to make some switches and all that stuff. So this is where we ended up. So yeah, grateful for that because then I would have to figure out what the hell I'm going to do because I'm not living in 29 Palms at 120 degrees out there. No way.
Absolutely.
It is pretty hot out your way too, isn't it? In Virginia?
In Virginia, it gets up to like maybe like in the late 90s some days
Mm-hmm.
summer, but overall the weather is not bad like compared to Texas or um
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Texas has been having a heat wave out there. I've seen
mhm,
crazy,
yeah.
crazy, and it's dry. I don't know if is it dry or humid out there. I've never been to
Where-
Texas.
In Texas,
Yeah.
it's pretty dry. In my
Yeah.
opinion, it's dry. Like certain parts are a little bit humid, like Houston, because it's close to the water and things like that. But most
Right.
of it is dry. Like I couldn't. I was thinking about buying a house out there because I always wanted to kind of go back to Texas. When I was
Yeah.
married, I was stationed in San Angelo, which is West Texas, and I was like, Texas is not bad. It's I could buy me a nice house out here. My kid, live in a nice neighborhood, where there's not a lot of crime, whatever. I went out there summer before last, Vic, and I looked at homes in the Dallas area, and I looked at homes in San Antonio. That's where I got friends in San Antonio, and it was so hot. The temperature was between 104 and 111 the whole time I was
Ooh,
out there, and I couldn't even
bacon.
like a full meal. If I ate a full meal, I would just feel like I'm gonna die. And so my straw was I ended up throwing up. Me and my friends went to a buffet, and we were outside going shopping and stuff like that, and just the
Ooh.
heat and all the food on my stomach, and I'm around the corner from the department store throwing up. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way. This is hot. I'm not used to this.
That sounds terrible. And that would have been an everyday thing, right? If you moved out there. So yeah, that doesn't sound good. Ugh.
No, no, not at all. But I miss.
Oh God.
I haven't been home in like. When was the last time I went home? I think I've been home in like 4 or 5 years. So I'm due to come back out there, come home. But every time I
Yeah. Yeah.
Diego, it looks different, and I'm just like more and more amazed of like what I grew up around. Because you got mountains, you got beach, you got everything
Yeah.
right there. Everything.
Yeah. I mean, people hate on it, but I mean, we just take the trolley down to like the Padres games. We love the Padres games, right? Just take
Yeah,
the trolley
go
down there.
Padres.
Yeah, I was just down there at by the right by the convention center. We ran the Bay Bridge area or the Bay Bridge Park run over
Uh-huh.
Coronado Bridge. So that was
Okay.
just yesterday. So I came home and I iced my knees. I'm like, man, yeah, I laid down the whole time. I was like, man, I can't get up anymore. It ain't the
Yep.
same. It ain't the
Nope.
same.
Nope. Nope. More, man.
No, no. I got to take care of this now. It's got to be elliptical just for me. Elliptical
Yep,
from now
that's what
on.
I got in my house. All I do is elliptical. If I do treadmill, I do incline and I walk it. I can't run anymore. But
Oh, it's rough. It's rough. Yeah. So let me ask you, when you were in the military, in the Air Force, did you have maybe like another passion outside of your MOS that you wanted to do when you got out? Something else that you wanted to pursue?
real estate, my dream was always real estate. I wanted to own real estate, but I didn't get serious about it until like maybe a year before I retired. And I also wanted to start my YouTube channel, right? And I
Yeah.
wish that everything that I wanted to do, I would have started it while I was still in rather than waiting until I retired. So I
Right.
always, well, whatever your passion is, get it going now. Don't wait till you get out or separate. Just start it now. That way you got your feet wet. And then, when you get out, you can hit the ground running. So by the time I got out, like I said, COVID had started, everything was shut
Hmm.
down. I couldn't look at homes the way I wanted to. It was just all the things I wanted to do. I wanted to go travel to Africa. I got my kid his passport. We had met up with the family, connected with them, was like, okay, we're gonna go to Tanzania. We're gonna stay with them for a while. All of that stopped. So once a couple of my dreams and the things that I had set up kind of got cut off, I kind of lost, you know, some like confidence in what it was I wanted to do. And I just went on a binge of smoking and drinking and
Hmm.
but I did have passions before, because I always knew that the military is not the end all be all. That's just the beginning. It's just a
Yeah.
step.
That's right.
you know People hold on to what they did in the military. That's cool and all that. Great, you served your country, you did well. But what else? Who are you? What is your purpose? It's got to be more than
Right.
just the military.
Yeah. 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 I get it. And I come across that a lot with folks who just can't let it go. I mean, I'm over here talking about it. And I'm wearing a freaking Marine shirt, right?
Oh,
But in my off time. But this is just like a PT shirt. But yeah, folks who can't let it go, right? It becomes their entire persona. And we've had folks in the podcast before who talk about that. Like it's time to uh, like effectively transition to becoming a civilian, because you will not be able to function as a civilian effectively if you cannot embrace that new lifestyle. You can't go up to a civilian with a knife hand and stuff, because people are not going to respond well to that stuff.
They don't.
So did you find any issues with the whole transition between military to civilian or anything like that? Like
Yes.
embracing the civilian life? You did?
Well, when it comes to civilian life, not necessarily. Well, okay. So are you talking about jobs or just existing as not in the military?
Well, let's talk about existing, and then we can transition into jobs here.
Well, I never got a job, and I'm still jobless, so we can skip that part. But I can talk about volunteering. But as far as like getting out, you know how we were just talking about identity, things like that.
Yeah.
It was really hard to go from constantly, because I was a flight chief. So flight chiefs, all they do is put out fires all day. So my phone would ding and ring all the time. And so to go from that constant, because I worked all the way up until the last day, until the day I freaking retired, right?
Yeah.
I was working. So same with my pregnancy. I worked all the way up until the day before they induced my labor, right? So I'm a worker. I don't like to leave anything unturned or undone or nothing like that. I'm like a completionist. So anyways, to go from your phone constantly ringing and people calling and asking you and relying on you and questioning you and not questioning you like your authority, but questioning, like your advice and your opinion, to go from that to nothing was like, I can't even describe it. It was surreal. It was really hard to deal with, like, well, damn, now, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't have anything set up to where I was going to be doing an intern anywhere, or I didn't take advantage of any of those. I just said for a whole year, I'm just going to chill and I'm going to sleep. That was my goal. I'm just going to sleep for a year. I'm going to travel, right? I'm going to get lit. I'm going to, and so, it was a shocker for my phone to not ring anymore, So that was hard. And that took me about a year and some change to get over that and realize that I can still, I still have a purpose in life, and I could still, be of service somewhere else,
Right. So I found, like, for instance, me, when the phone stopped ringing after I left, it was kind of a blow to the gut. It really was. It was like, man, I'm no longer needed.
Yes,
and
that's it.
I kind of spiraled down a little bit. I was able to hold it together, right? But I spiraled down a little bit. Like, man, that the military was my purpose, my mission for so long, and now I don't have one. Did you ever go through something like that?
That was it. That was it. Not feeling like I had a purpose anymore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a rough thing, and that's something we talk a lot about on the podcast too. Is like finding your next mission, because it's not just about being in the military. It's like what you do next, right? The next step is really what matters. Because if not, you're going to be in limbo the whole time. Just what do I do now? People get stuck on there for so long.
They do, and that's why I really appreciate your channel, and I try to chime in the chat and come on and support, because what you're doing is amazing, and there's so many people that can relate to us, when you transition from feeling like you have a purpose and being needed and things, to going from that to just silence and serenity, if you will. A lot of people need to figure out, well, what do I do next? Like, a lot of people, literally, you can go to all the TAPS classes you want, and you could talk about it to other people all you want, but once you're actually in it, it's a different kind of feeling. So I appreciate your channel just for that purpose, to help steer and guide people into, what else they could be doing,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, the TAPS classes was a big thing. I was trying to get a hold of different TAPS coordinators around Southern California to try to get my foot in the door, just to kind of go up in front of the class and present. And I was met with a lot of pushback on that. They were saying, no, we're working with a contracted company that the DoD contracts with, or the Department of the Navy contracts with. We can't have anybody outside of that contract come in and talk to folks, because they've had bad experiences with it, right? The idea of it was, and you tell me if I'm wrong, or maybe we could do this a little bit better. But the idea was have a panel of about five veterans, military retirees, maybe folks who um, haven't retired and got out after a while honorably, right? Um, kind of sit up in front of a class and just give their actual no crap real life perspectives on what they struggled with and what they encountered when they left the military. Like, yeah, I had no idea that taxes were going to hit me this hard, a year after I retired or I got out. I had no idea that I was going to go through this mental stress, within the first 6 months of me retiring. These are things that you're going to encounter. It's all fun and games, and you see all the rainbows and crap when you're about to get out because you see a new life is ahead. But what you don't encounter is a few months after that, it's like, damn, my phone's not ringing anymore. People are busy with their own life. I don't have this tribe anymore. I don't have that mission anymore. Who really needs me? What is really my purpose? And that's really what I want to get in front of folks. Not just the mental part, but like actual things that they're going to encounter. Like, hey, yeah, you should have done your life insurance while you were in before you did your VA disability, because if not, it's going to shoot up like 200%, life insurance costs are. Or you should have did this, you should have did that. Kind of like a best practices type of panel. But yeah, they were like, yeah, good idea, but we're not going to do that because we can't have you on here. So then I started going to like local like bars and stuff like that are owned by veterans here in SoCal to ask about it. I'm like, hey, would you mind hosting something like this? A lot of them said yes, but it's a matter of who's really going to want to go on their off time to go sit into something like that,
Right. Nobody.
Would I want to? No, I wouldn't want to. Unless there was like free drinks or free food. I don't, something that's in it for me, right? It's in it for me. So that's the tough part. But yeah, that's you tell me. Go ahead.
There you go. Are you frozen?
Go ahead.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I think that's an amazing idea. I wonder why they didn't bite. I mean, I guess if they already got somebody contracted to come in, well, who were the people that they had contracted? Were they people that were kind of on the same lane as you, or were they doing something different, or?
No. So it's a company that contracts these TAP coordinators and TAP folks who give the classes, right? And I didn't work for the company. So that's the only thing is you don't work for the company who contracts. They have to follow a strict, I guess, check in the box guideline for transition readiness, right? They have to talk about this, talk about that.
Yeah.
And I was like an outsider coming to talk about something completely different. And one of the guys had told me that they had in the previous years, they had a Medal of Honor recipient. This is a big reason why they don't do it. A Medal of Honor recipient who came in to talk in front of a TAPS class. And that Medal of Honor recipient started off his presentation with, hey, we all know that TAPS is BS. Let me give you the real reason.
Wait. Go back. You went out when he said, we all know what?
Oh, he said, we all know that TAPS is BS. This is coming from the Medal of Honor recipient, right? And this dude was like, this is a reason why we don't let people from the outside come and talk to, at the TAPS classes. I'm like, well, I can assure you that I'm not going to say that, right? I got some good information from TAPS, but once I'm up there, you can't really control it, right? But that coming from a Medal of Honor recipient who's talking in front of a TAPS class was huge, right? It's a big black eye to them. So I guess that's a big reason why they don't want to do that across the board. But I'm like, hey, I think this would be beneficial to folks if we had a panel of folks who sat there and just kind of gave their life experience a year, 2 years after they left the military to show like, hey, you're going to encounter this. It's going to suck for a little while.
Yeah, I think it's important to be realistic, but in that, even in that panel, you got to discuss the positives of getting out and things that they could do to to avert any of the issues that you say people are going to have, right? So as long as you end it with some positivity and give them some constructive ways of countering those things, then I think it will be good. But it sounds like at the end of the day, Vic, you're going to have to start your own company touching on all of the things that TAP's required to touch on, that the military says, the government says. You have to touch on all these. You have to create your own company that's going to touch on all these things, and then give your special take. The things you want to add that regular TAPS is not adding. That's the only way I could see you getting in there, because like you said, they're not gonna just let some Joe Schmo. You might have all the experience in the world. You may have been an officer. You may have done all this. You may have fought wars. You may have. It don't matter. Once you have that one person coming in talking crap about their company, they're not going to just allow anybody in. So I think the best bet is, number one, continue doing what you're doing, an amazing job, and more people are going to come, right? I think it might just be a marketing thing, how we got to get more people watching, right? But keep doing this. And then somehow, because you already have enough people and you networks really, really well. Like the people you have coming on your show, I'm like, whoa, how does he know him? How does he know her, right? So you got people, right?
Oh, I think you froze there for a second. Okay, we'll get you back here. So yeah. Thank you, Douglas Wiggers, for your comment on here. The 5-person panel is great. Real examples and good advice that's interactive and not PowerPoint driven. Yeah, and we all know the whole issue with death by PowerPoint, right? You're sitting in the base theater, you're sitting in the classroom, and it's just nothing but people reading off slides, just checks in the boxes, just like, this is what we're required to teach, check, check, check. And it sucks. And I think really having people with real life experience who went through certain things, went through these issues, went through the mental stresses, went through the financial stresses, et cetera, the people who lived it a few months after they got out, that's who you want to hear from. It's cool. Like I remember sitting down and, here we go. Oh, I thought I lost you there.
You did. I'm sorry. I got a phone call, so I was like, "Oh, let me put it on Do Not Disturb." I'm so sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. No, I was just saying that I remember in TAPS class when I was sitting there, and one of our classes was resumes and interviews, right? So they touched on resumes, which was fine, right? I had asked a question. I can't recall what the question was, but I was referred to a link. Like they didn't have the answer for it. I'm like, so I guess just Google it then, But I sat there, and part of the interview class was kind of a joke, really. I sat and we were just joking around the whole time, just laughing it up, because you're with people or you may not know, right? At that TAPS class, and we're just asking silly interview questions. Nobody's really taking it very serious, right? Because you got like 30 minutes to ask some questions and then move on to the next lesson. I'm like, well, how good would it be if even then, like outside of the 5-person panel, if we actually did like a virtual interview thing, like actually set it up to we're asking you real life questions in preparation for an interview. And just, I was talking to my co-host John about this a while back, about doing something like that, like doing a whole masterclass and incorporating an actual like one-on-one interview session, mock interview session, right? For whatever they want to go into, and have somebody, either us or somebody who is an expert in that field, come on and ask legit questions on those things, on that position. Just in preparation for this stuff. Because I know when I did my first interview coming out of the military, it's not like an NCO review board or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, it's like they're asking me questions, and I'm like, I don't know, And then after that, in preparation, and maybe I'm an asshole for doing this, but after that, I started applying to local jobs here, like at AutoZone or something like that, And I got in front of managers to have some reps, and just to see like, hey, maybe I want to ask them some outlandish question, like, why do you think I'm a good fit for your company? And they're like, like just put it, I posed that question to like a 25-year-old manager. He's
Wow.
like, he didn't know what to say, right? What about me do you like for your company? But yeah, just
That's
like,
funny.
and I did some reps like that, right? I just did some reps like that. And that kind of got me out of my, got all the jitters out and got me a little bit more confident because you're doing reps, right? So
Okay.
if we can do something like,
smart.
hey, let's do our weekly interview session, like, hey, let's talk about best practices. Let's do mock interviews here, just helping folks out, either in person or online, either way. Because when I went online for my latest position, I thought it was only gonna be me and one other person. I jumped on the Zoom and it was like 6 people on there. And I'm
What?
like, and they're all getting turns, asking me a question. I'm like, I
Oh
wasn't
my
expecting this.
gosh. That's nerve-wracking right there. That doesn't even sound fair, right? Like,
No, it was, but I understand, right? Everybody from every position needs to ask their type of questions. Like, hey, how are you going to help out with this? Different expertise. So I
did they
completely get
really?
it. Yeah, but I'm like, I wasn't expecting this, and
No.
maybe that's what needs to happen. Throw people to the fire a little bit to see how they're going to react.
Yeah.
So,
If they really want to set people up for success once they get out, which they don't, I think the military, they're just checking a box. Like, okay, we put you through this, we gave you a little bit of information to get you going. By the way, it's information overload anyway.
it
And
is.
half of it you're not going to use, right? But I think if you create something that's got some realistic things in there that's going to help people really succeed, then it could be a thing. Because I mean, all you have to do is start a business and just bid it like as a contract, right? Just like put a contract in, like I'm a tax company. This is what we do. You're gonna notice. Better follow. What do you call it? Like when you get out and then things go well, and then you do like a study and you say, okay, because of my program, this many people were able to get jobs within the first 6 months versus when this other tax company, whatever.
Oh yeah, you do your
I don't
R&D,
know. We're trying to
right?
think of, yeah,
Your
like
research and development, all that.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be
I could
bad,
see
right?
that. Yeah, I could see that happening. I just think the way you want to do it, you're gonna have to have your own team. You're gonna have to have your own team.
Yeah, and I can't really outsource that to like the Philippines or something. So I gotta have people on the ground, right, to do that.
Yeah, you need people here. Yeah. Maybe some of it can be. Maybe some of it can be like some of it. We're going in a digital age, so all of it doesn't have to be a physical person there. But somebody from your company can have part video, part. You know what I'm saying? Somebody zooming in from overseas, a homeboy that that's really, really smart in one particular area, that's going to help with their retirement, it can be partial, hybrid, but I think if you put all that together and cover all of the basics, find out exactly what TAPS wants from their contracts, and just go for it. Yeah, I
think you're giving me some good ideas here. Hey, you're getting me motivated to do some stuff here. I got a lot of downtime right now. If you haven't noticed, like I'd never stream on a Monday morning, right? I got a whole lot of downtime right now.
I know you ain't got no job. Vic, you ain't got no job, man.
So I'll tell you, this just happened too, because I took the federal DRP, right? Yeah. So I was like, they told me about it. They were like, I consulted with some folks, some higher federal employees, and they were like, potentially you're going to be let go anyway, so might as well take the DRP. Because I was a supervisor and I was probationary for up to 2 years. So anytime December of this past December and 2 years, I could have been let go for whatever reason. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to take this deferred resignation program, and I took off. So I'm good until September, right? So that's what caused me. I was talking to my co-host John. I'm like, you know what? I think I want to do this thing where I just, talk to folks on live stream and other veterans and see what their ideas are, see where they are in life, similar to what we're doing right now. And I'm still looking for like other work, just more veteran focused things that I want to do and not that I have
Yeah.
to do. Because,
Yeah.
and now that we're retired, we don't have to do things that we don't
Amen.
want to do. We can
Yeah.
pursue our passions and our purpose.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's where I am right now. So I was like, man, I've never live streamed on a Monday. Let's see how this goes.
Mhm.
But you're right. Yeah, it's like I don't have a job, right? So, but it's fun. It's fun. It's a good time.
It is fun.
It's a good way to connect.
It is, yeah. Just take advantage of this time and do all the things you've been wanting to do that you've been putting off because you were so busy searching for a job, putting in resumes, finally got the job, working the job, and now you're off and it's like, whew, okay, now what,
Yeah.
And so I think in order to never be put in that position again, we really just have to start looking at entrepreneurship, and the military, not the military, but the VA, they offer like those entrepreneur courses and things like that,
Yep.
Maybe they'd be willing to give you a grant to help you get this thing started, but
yeah. There's a whole lot of things I got to explore there. Whole lot.
Yeah,
of stuff.
the way you carry
SBA.
yourself. Oh yeah, the SBA, yeah. But the way you carry yourself, I could see you owning something, not necessarily like working for somebody, I know it's just the way that you are or whatever, but
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. Yeah. That's it. And it's fun because I've always been an entrepreneur myself, and I've always been like had entrepreneur ideas, motives, and things like that. That's something I try to teach folks about. I made this video a couple years ago, and it's probably it's on another YouTube account, and I haven't seen the video for so long that I logged in. And I'm like, man, this thing's got a good amount of views, right? It was how to cut your own hair in the military, right? And expressing how I was probably in for about 15 years at that time, and I had calculated that I had saved probably upwards of $20,000 just cutting my own hair over the course of my military career. It would have been probably 30,000 because if you think about it, for a guy's haircut, you have to get a haircut at least in the Marine Corps every week. And if you go off base, it's probably going to be what, $20-30 maybe plus tip. So like $40 a week, times that by however many years, it adds up. So a while back, I bought my own clippers. I've been cutting shit. I still cut my own hair. I've been cutting my own hair for over 20 years. And, and I taught folks how to do it. Like I bought my clippers to work one day, and I had all like the E6 and below, just gather around in this circle. And I'm like, hey, real quick, I'm going to show you all how to cut hair. It ain't hard. You're going to mess it up. But if you do mess it up, you're young enough to go bald and it'll grow back. Me, not so much, because it's going to start, it probably won't grow back. But so I got to be precise with this. But I showed them how to do it, and they're like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yeah, do this every week. It'll save you $40. Put that somewhere else, and then use that as like a little thing. Do it at the barracks, freaking cut hair for whatever donations, because you can't really ask for, money if you're not a certified licensed barber. But do it for donations. I did it when I was deployed. I did it when I was younger in the barracks. Probably saved over $30,000 in cutting my own hair.
Oh, yeah.
And just showing folks. I was like, I loved doing that. And not that I made any money off that, but it was just showing folks how to do that. It made me feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like passing on the torch, like of cutting hair, I guess. I don't know. But just passing on the torch. But yeah, it feels so good. And I think that I am, and talking to the co-host, right? My co-host, John, I think we are looking at something like that, doing like a master class of sorts on how to do different things. Like right now, I don't know if you've heard of the VRE, the Veterans Readiness and Employment. So
I'm going through them. Yeah.
Excellent. So it's a great program. I'm talking to a counselor right now about it. So instead of, for anybody out there listening too, if instead of using the GI Bill up front, you use the Veterans Readiness and Employment, and they pay for either the training, if you want to do like pilot training, if you want to go for like a bachelor's or even a master's degree, you just have to show why you need it. And at least for when I submitted my stuff for my master's program, I had to show jobs that I wanted to get into that required a master's degree. Like if you wanted to be a human resources manager, and that requires a master's in human resources, that would be your in, right? So you just have to show like evidence of jobs that require that. And they pay you tuition, and they give you a stipend that mirrors the basic allowance for housing, which is amazing, right? And on top of that, you still have your entire full GI Bill to use on the back end. So potentially you have 8 years of schooling paid for with a BAH rate, which here in Southern California, it's $4,000 a month for BAH. So it's like, yeah, $4,000 a month. So I'm like, I'm all right here, you know, just go to school. That'll be my job for the next couple of years, you know? So, and then we were talking about moving back to Florida. I was like, BAH out there is like 2,500. Maybe we'll stick around here for a little bit, you know?
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah. But yeah, VRE is an awesome program. My co-host John is on it right now doing his bachelor's. Yeah. And I try to sell that to so many people because they cover like entrepreneurship too. And on top of that, give you a technology package if you request it, if you rate it, which means that they give you a computer, they give you a printer, they give you the software like Microsoft Word and all that stuff, an ergonomic chair. They can give you all that stuff as part of the package. So if you need
ergonomic
it,
chair?
school, yeah.
Okay.
So I just saw on Reddit that somebody had requested it, and I think, and I'm reading through the documentation for the BRD now. I think it's like the M21 is the document, M21 or M28, but each person has up to a certain amount allotted for them if you're going through the program. I think it's like upwards of 50,000, right? So your school might cost 24,000 a year, or say 25,000 a year or whatever. Anything that's left over from tuition and all that stuff, books, can go towards like your technology package. I think up to like $2,000 or something.
Okay. Okay.
So
Good to know.
yeah, I saw on Reddit this dude got, you know, a widescreen monitor, an ergonomic chair. He got himself a laptop, a printer, all this stuff for school because he needs it for school, and they'll supply.
Yeah.
The VA will pay for all that. I'm like, why not? Why not do all that? You know, and on
Why
top of that, go to
not?
school, get paid.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Why not? And that was my thing too, Vic. I ended up getting accepted. Now it took me 3 tries. I'm in Virginia. If I was in more of a military-friendly state, I think it would be easy because I know everybody that lives in Texas or Kentucky applied once and they were able to get me. I had to apply 3 times and finally was accepted. But let me tell you what, they put me through the ringer to get accepted so I can go back to school and get I had to show all of the proof of me looking for a job. I had to show all of my job listings, all of the rejection letters. I had to show proof that I went through resume writing. I went to a federal resume writing class. I went through VRE for employment. So she helped me redo my resume. She helped me put applications in and do my resumes and add all that. I had to show proof that I did all of these things and none of it worked. So can I please go back to school and get my master's? And I felt like every time I had an appointment, she was requesting something else. And I'm like, what else do you need, lady? I promise you I'm not a dirtbag. I promise you that first year I was a dirtbag. I could tell you that. I was a dirtbag with the best of them. But I cleaned up my act and I applied. I did all the things. So please, can I go back to school? And finally, they just granted me an opportunity to go back to my alma mater and get my master's degree. But I made the mistake of telling her that I have a laptop. Now, my laptop is 14 years old. I told her I have a laptop. It's 14 years old and it's almost on the brink of breaking. But if I keep it plugged in, it'll work. And she said, well, since you told me it works when you keep it plugged in, I can't give you a new one.
Hey, so moral of the story is, hey, you're doing college work from your cell phone. You need a laptop. Moral of the story.
Yeah. It's not working, man. The plugs don't even work no more. I need one. I'm doing it. I can't. My phone's too small.
Yeah. So that's good news too. That's good to know because like my laptop, my MacBook was a 2014 MacBook or something, and it was slowing down significantly, right? And then I was like, hey, my kids asking for it. I'm like, yeah, I was thinking about buying a new laptop, and I'm thinking, if I get into this VRNE, if they're just going to buy me a laptop, I'll just hold off on it. I'll continue using this freaking old this old MacBook until it dies and give it to
Till
my
it
kid or
dies.
something. Thinking of,
Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, it all
Yeah.
depends on, because there's not a streamlined process with any of this. So it's like one VRNE counselor might tell you to buy it from the bookstore. The other VRNE counselor might say, hey, look, go on staples.com, so there's not really a set way to do it. So I'm curious to see
Yeah.
what they're going to tell me about it. I'm curious.
Yeah, just don't let them know you still have one that even works a little bit. Just leave that out of the equation, because they gonna save the government some money if they can. So just don't even,
Yeah. I'm working out of the library. I need my own stuff. Yeah, no,
Yes,
that's good. That's good.
exactly.
And then for like the full BAH amount, for anybody out there listening, for the full BAH amount under VRNE, same as the GI Bill too. It's you got to go hybrid. Like you got to have full-time in person, which I
Yeah.
think like National University, which is like the easiest university I think to get into, because it's one class a month at National University, and they only meet once every 2 weeks. So that suffices for full time. So
Whoa.
it's
What school
pretty
is
good.
this?
National
What
University,
school?
they're national.
Wow.
Yeah,
National.
they're out of San
Okay.
Diego. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, they were founded by like a Navy captain or something many years ago. But
Okay.
they got here in San Diego, Chula Vista. But yeah, I don't know if they have outlying type of satellite locations. If they do, it'd be great. But I like the format, one class a month. Like you go from the start of the class and you take your final exam at the end of the month, move on to the next class the next month. So
Whoa.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's better than taking 3 classes at the same time for like 16 weeks for a semester. At least for me, it was.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's typical. Wow.
Yeah, it's a little
National
difficult to do that.
University. Is it in
Yeah.
National City, or where is it at?
No, it's
You know, where-
so they have different sites here. They have one up in North County. They have one here in like, oh gosh, where is it? Like Kearney Mesa, and then they got another one down by
Mhm.
Chula Vista. So
Okay.
they got a couple
Okay.
spots, but they got to have some on. I think they have some on military installations too, because I know they work a
Okay.
lot with the military. But it is really a
National
university for like
University.
for working adults, mostly like military.
Okay.
Yeah, but pretty good.
Nice.
They sold me when they said, yeah, you'd only have to come to class once a month or twice a month. And I'm like, well, if that suffices for full time, then I'm there. I'm good.
Are you there all
Um,
day? Is it like from 9 to 5? Is it like that?
No, just a few hours. I haven't even started yet, but from what I understand, it's just a few hours, and then you're done. Like maybe a Friday or something, and then you're done, and then the rest of the time is just online. You just meet up once every 2 weeks. That's it.
But
I'm
you're
good with
doing
that.
hybrid though, because then
Yeah.
part of you being there and then part online, that'll count as full time.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's okay. See, and I can only do mine online, and it's only one class per semester, but it's not considered full time. So
Oh,
dang it.
right.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm still getting something, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. Why not? And then,
I can't
once your kids are of age, you got the, what is it? The chapter 35? Is it chapter 35 benefits? I can't recall. It's either 31, 33,
33
35.
maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
One of those 30, the ones of those 30 something. Yeah.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
folks who are like 100% VA disabled, and then their kids can go to school for free. And I don't even
Yep.
think it's 100% VA disabled. It's like if you served and you qualify, depending on your state, your kids get to go to a state university for free.
Yeah.
So
I know
that's
Texas,
a
your
good
kids
deal.
can go to school for free in Texas. College kids, I think they have to have like a certain amount of like their GPA has to be a certain amount for their kids to go to school for free or something like that for the first 2 years. I think it's like
Yeah.
that in Georgia too, But I gave up 30 like over 30 30 hours or 30 for my kid. So he's got some GI Bill set aside that I, gave to him. So
No,
yeah.
that's good. That's good. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely look into that because it could be, you could potentially be able to use that GI Bill too. And like for me, I haven't touched my GI Bill, but I have that chapter 33 or 31. I can't recall what it is, for my kids. So they can
Okay.
go to school to any UC, like UCLA or any state
Whoa.
school in California for free. So like
Wow.
tuition paid for, not room and board, but tuition paid for, to any Cal State school or UC. So I know
Mm-hmm.
a lot of states have those. I think Florida has it. Virginia may
Okay.
have it. Texas does. Yeah,
Okay.
something to definitely look out for because that stuff is paid for. That means the veteran themselves can use their own GI Bill,
Yeah.
which is huge. Huge.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is huge. Yeah. Good
I
stuff.
mean,
Good stuff.
there's a whole lot of benefits. There's a whole lot of benefits out there. People don't realize it, and I'm always surprised when, shoot, I was just talking to this Navy guy the other day about VRNE. He's like, "What's that?" I'm like,
Oh my
dude,
gosh. He had no
like
idea.
I got to tell you, man, just don't use your GI Bill. Use the VRNE first. He's like, "What's VRNE?" I'm like, no, sit down, dude. Let me talk to you real quick. We got to talk about this. There's so many things that people don't know about it, and because for one, they don't really cover it all, or maybe they do, but they just kind of skim over it in tabs,
They do.
or
They do.
they just don't know, And that's a big reason why I run channels like this and like the Military Retirement Podcast, Green Logbook, just kind of get the information out there. Like the Waves of Honor thing that I just put out a short video on the Waves of Honor. You've heard of that, yes?
Sounds familiar. What is it for? Is
Yeah,
that when they pay
yeah.
your bill? Like if you have a credit card debt or something like
No,
that?
no. So Waves of Honor is a theme park thing, right? So they give you the
yeah.
free theme park passes for SeaWorld or
Mhm.
Busch Gardens or Sesame Place or something like that. I
Uh-huh.
know like Busch Gardens over in Virginia,
Yep.
you're eligible for that too.
Yeah,
Up to
I've done it
4
before.
passes. Yeah, so up to 4 passes
Yeah.
for free. The veteran plus 3 dependents. I just went to SeaWorld here for my kid's birthday. So I was like, it was great because SeaWorld passes were like $90. And I'm like, no. Let me go do this Waves of Honor thing real quick, kid.
Absolutely. Yep.
Take you to SeaWorld. Yeah. But it's great.
I used to work at SeaWorld.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Doing what? Were you a trainer? Training the killer
No.
whales?
No, listen, I sold popcorn and I sold that heavy ass, those water bottles, man. I lasted 2 months and I said, I can't do it. I can't.
Yeah, we went on a day, it was on a Friday and it was not packed at all. It was beautiful. It was like the weather was good. There was barely anybody there. Yeah.
Nice.
So it was beautiful. Because I hate going to theme
Absolutely.
parks when it's like lines upon lines and it's just crowded. I hate that stuff. Hate it.
Yeah, me too. I can't stand it, But that is, see, and that's the thing. That's why it's so important. You gotta create your own thing, man. You gotta create your own Vic version of TAPS, so that people can know about all of these things that are really gonna make a difference. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that this dude had no idea what VRNE is. Like I know somebody has told me things about the military too that I was like, what? I can ask for that, or I can do this, or I can apply for that. Like, but it's not something that I was taught while I was in or on my way out. It was something that I just happened to be having a discussion or, happen upon some information and then hear it, It was never taught to me, So
yeah,
that's important,
And then things are always changing too. Laws are always changing from state to state. Things are always changing. So I know like last year or the year before, like North Carolina exempted property tax for 100% VA disabled. That was huge, right? That wasn't a thing before. And then all of a sudden exempted taxes. That's several thousands of dollars saved every year for veterans or active duty personnel or whoever. So things are always changing. And I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to that because I worked in military justice for all, the whole 20 years plus that I was in. So I'm always reading like legislation. I'm always reading like laws and stuff.
So you stay on top of it.
Yeah. And I kind of enjoy that stuff. I read investigations and stuff online. Supreme Court. I'm always on the Supreme Court website, just perusing through stuff. I don't know. It's what I've done for so long. I figured let me just check the stuff out here and make a quick video of it. But yeah, it's how I stay informed, you know, because I can't really rely too much on the news these days because everybody's got a different point of view. So I'm like, I just need to get to where the facts are. Let me go into this actual legislation and read it all and just highlight the stuff that's real, right? That's actually been passed.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know what is what anymore. So
right. You just never know unless you actually do the research, because so much nonsense gets thrown at you and it's just like, you know, you got to sift through the crap. But one thing also a lot of people don't realize or don't remember, because it's, you know, information overload, that I just wanted to mention real quick, was that when I got out, how I was considering relocating to Texas, even when I first retired. And so the military, they will pay to relocate you, you know, they'll pack up all your stuff and send you, right? And you have a year to do it. Well, within that year, like I told you, my mom passed and then something else had happened. I think I needed a minor surgery or something like that. Well, I was able to get a whole nother year extended, you know, for me to move. They were like, well, we'll extend it. You know, all I had to do was send in a letter from my doctor, and they're like, okay, you get a whole nother extension. So I don't know if a lot of people realize that, you know, you can use the military to relocate back home or wherever you want once you get out. And if things happen legitimately, you know what I'm saying, that you can prove, they will give you an extension for it, you know. I didn't use it, but I was grateful for the thought of it, you know.
Yeah, that's good info. I think they can waive it up to 5 years to keep your stuff to keep your stuff in storage up to that time. So, but you have to do it like every year. You have to request it every year. Yeah. Yeah, but it's definitely doable. Like you mentioned, everything's waiverable except for that one thing.
Right. If you have one thing you need, and it's like, there's no waiver for that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Well, shoot, it was great having you on the line. I've been online for about an hour and 46 minutes.
Yeah, almost 2 hours, bro.
Yeah, I've been
Thanks
having
for
water
having
and
me
coffee.
on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate
Thanks for coming on. Anytime.
You're
so
welcome.
I think I might make this a more frequent thing, because you know, there's some folks that are watching it. You know, we get folks like you on here who have, you know, knowledge, and you've gotten out and a lot of stuff to share. And this has been great.
Or if there are people that just need questions, that's lost, don't know what to do, they need to call up here and ask you, like, this is my situation, what would you do? You know what I'm saying? Make it do like a what would Vic do, you know, in the situation kind of thing, you know, post-military for sure.
Yeah. What would Vic do? Well, Vic, I don't know if people want to take my advice. I always preface it by, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not your attorney. I'm not, I'm not any of this stuff. So don't go doing crazy stuff based on me.
Right.
But I'm more risk averse than most people. So we'll see how things go.
Right. All right, Vic. Well, you take care. God bless, man.
It's good having you. You as well. You as well. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Bye-bye. Oh man, good times connecting with fellow veterans. I love that stuff. Veterans out there, I think I'm going to make this a recurring thing. Veterans and Coffee Talk, you know, the coffee mess or whatever we want to call it. It's just great to connect with fellow veterans, talk about real issues, talk about real things that are affecting veterans' lives. I started out with what was the topic here? Reasons why you left the military, and I know I shouted out like 5 different reasons, and one of them was, you know, I achieved what I came here for. The military doesn't really match my goals anymore. Things like that, you know, and I'll probably make a long form video on it. But really do appreciate everybody who stuck it out and listened to what I had to say, me rambling on and talking about whatever the hell I'm talking about. It's definitely good to connect with fellow veterans. Definitely good to talk to folks with like-minded paths in life, talk about passions and next missions and things like that. So if there's a better time to do this, please let me know. Right now, I just started it off around 9:30 Pacific time on Monday. But if there's a better time to do this where maybe you're off work, maybe you have more time to listen, to get involved, to maybe jump on the line and talk a little bit while on stage, share that. Please let me know, and I'll adjust my times. Like I mentioned on here, I've got a lot of time during the week, and looking forward to doing something resourceful with it. So I'm here for you. Thanks for watching.